Welcome to our executive interview series at the Elastic Public Sector Summit, produced by FedScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash, and we're here with Jen Nowell, Area Vice President, Sales Federal Civilian at Elastic. Jen, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'd like to start by asking, what key challenges do organizations in government face in transforming large data sets into actionable insights?
You know, it's interesting. I can even go back to some of the executive orders, right? Executive Order 14028 was just such an important executive order back in 2021. But that was really the onset of these massive amounts of data that organizations were taking on because they could now share cyber security information. And then M2131 came on after that again just wanted them to retain these logs for a longer period of time than they were accustomed to. So this data volume, now that we're now into 2025, is just so massive and so complex. Them trying to determine how do we continually try to, manage that data, create these actionable insights, and then it comes along AI. And it really has changed the game for most of our security analysts today. Elastic specifically does something called attack discovery within our data platform. And with attack discovery, it really allows our SOC analysts to triage that information very quickly. If they get thousands and thousands of alerts, they walk in Monday morning, they've got all these alerts, what do I decide to focus on first? We need to give them that ability to triage that information, start to really look at these attack metrics and determine how do I prioritize that. And so Gen AI has really helped them focus on, can I push away those mundane tasks and focus on the most important things first? And that's really what we're seeing cybersecurity evolve into with the introduction of AI. So it's really a good place to be right now.
And then next, how does a data mesh approach actually improve an organization's data agility and governance and usability?
No, appreciate the question. It's interesting. Data mesh is an industry term, right? It's not an Elastic term. It's an industry term. And it's really a modern architecture. I think people, as they come to learn that it's really a place in industry where we need to start to evolve to. And when we think about data mesh and the way that Elastic implements our open source standards and create this environment where really, if you own that data, you should be able to have good ownership of that data, have the right security controls of that data. And what we want is for people to be able to share that information across versus having all this data, different copies of the same data used many times. And so what data mesh has really allowed our customers to do is to have a modern architecture with the ability to have the right access controls, the right governance, but it's really a user-centric approach without having all this multiple data that just increases the cost for the organization.
Well, Jen Nowell, thank you so much for taking a few minutes here at the Elastic Public Sector Summit to share some of your insights on the evolution of data in government.
Yeah, thank you, Wyatt.